implementing changes to the way the game is officiated would remedy these types of issues.
We're going to move to a system like that where that whole category of calls will be automatic, where it's going to be Laker ball, Nick ball, whatever it is, Thunder ball. Those calls will be done by an AI automated system with cameras lined around the court, and it'll take all of those so-called objective calls out of the hands of the referees.
Big Perk, let's start with you. Do you like or dislike the idea of the NBA using the AI system?
Man, listen, y'all know how I feel about Adam Silver. I love him. But I totally disagree with him on this one. Hell no. Hell no. There's no AI technology or none of that stuff going on. No. This needs to be evaluated by real officials in real time. We can't trust these AI systems when it comes down to getting these calls right. And let me go to this call. Let me go to that particular call right there. Okay, the ball did go off of Chet Holmgren's foot. But the rule is that you have to call a timeout first and then challenge. I've never seen Miss Johnson actually say timeout, and then you challenge. You can't just challenge without officially calling a timeout. That's number one. Number two, I totally disagree with this. We cannot bring AI into this. I am completely against it. You have to, if you want to do anything, add another official to the game, especially in the postseason. I know we already got 3, but if you want to add a 4th, damn it, do that. Put another set of real eyes on the game and have one just solely focusing on one little thing and being whatever it got to be, but none of that AI stuff. None of it. I totally disagree.
You're entitled to your feelings, Perk, and you're not wrong. You just have to adapt. It's the way of the world. Evolution is a part of the process, and the reality is that in every walk of life from this day forward, AI is going to be relevant. There's just no way around it. And the quicker you adapt to that reality, the better suited you'll be to deal with it, to exploit it, and to ultimately benefit from it. That's just the reality of the situation. There is no walk of life moving forward in this world where AI is not going to be a part of the process. I don't like it. I think the game is rife with human error. I think that's an element to the game that can't be ignored. I don't think it should be ignored. I don't think it should be diminished or dissipated in any way. But in the age of sports gaming, and there's so much at stake, gambling, fantasy, sports, etc., and especially with what the NBA went through in the past with Tim Donaghy and all of that stuff, the eyes of the world are on you, and AI being an additional eye and making sure that, you take some of the objective decisions, to quote Adam Silver, out of the mix, and it just is what it is. It's it's more easy to stomach for the public because the public ain't coming to just watch the games anymore. I mean, before long, man, I think at the 76ers game and some other arenas, you had gambling elements within the damn arena where you could go bet during the game in the damn arena. And you're going to see more of that moving forward. We're talking about billions upon billions of dollars that 30 owners have an opportunity to capitalize off of, as well as the league office and beyond. It is an inescapable reality. We can sit here and talk about we don't like it all we want to. Joe, you know more about this than me and Big Perk put together because of your association with Vegas and gambling and gaming and all of that stuff. You know I'm telling the truth. This is just what it is. And so for me, Adam Silver is recognizing that we have to adapt and we have to evolve. Don't be surprised. NFL going to do it. Major League Baseball is going to do it. Everybody going to do it. Why? Because there's so much money at stake and you want to make sure that you're doing something to capitalize off of it while at least giving the impression that you're making an all-out effort to protect the integrity of the game. So the more eyes that are on a situation, the more that, machines or AI or anything else in between assist in making certain calls, taking it out of the hands of the human element, the more safe you are and the more protected you are for being accused of trying to manipulate outcomes and things of that nature. Look at the draft lottery, Big Perk. Look at what people say about that. Look at what people have said about the ping pong balls. Look at what people have said about a host of things where they think things have been manipulated to benefit one at the expense of another. Those are the kind of things in the age of sports gaming and beyond that you can't have plaguing you as a league. They all know it, and that's why they're moving forward. And Joe, I think it's more important, believe it or not, I think it's more important in this particular subject for the audience to hear from you than either of us.
I want to start with this. Perk, the idea that Adam Silver talking about using AI just to get calls right in terms of out of bounds or inbounds. We're not talking about anything necessarily with fouls, just using the AI technology to determine whether or not the ball went out of bounds on OKC or on San Antonio for the purpose of being able to free up the officials to worry about the more subjective calls, like whether or not SGA flopped or whether or not he was truly fouled. Would you be against it if it's just for inbounds, out of bounds sort of stuff?
No, I wouldn't be against it from that aspect, from that point, Joe. If it was just for out of bounds plays and to keep it moving type thing, I'm with that. I'm even with it to the certain extent of goaltending. Stephen A. broke it down, and he's right about the whole point of gambling. And Joe, I'm going to give you the floor back. I just have a hard time stomaching, you know what I'm saying, our game, the game that I've been involved in for so long, having been officiated or having AI technology to do something with the officiating of the calls. I just have a problem with that. Don't sit well with me right now.
Makes complete sense. In terms of getting the calls right, that's what everyone wants to believe, is the idea that the game is above board. I believe the NBA game is fully above board. I think that this helping to get things right eliminates some of the conversation and the argument that something inappropriate could be happening. But the reality is the NBA and other leagues have been on top of the gambling stuff from the beginning, going back before legalization was ever concerned. There was a direct pipeline to Vegas. Anytime something suspicious was happening with a point spread, the leagues were notified to it. The idea now that a player could go out and do something suspicious, for example, start the game, play a few minutes, and then check out with an injury, that's almost always going to be detected because the amount of money bet on those props is going to be so far outside the norm of what is normally seen, it's going to trigger a warning, and people are going to look into it. That's what anybody who's thinking about doing something like that needs to understand. If a prop on a player's under for rebounds on a given night, for example, takes about $5,000 worth of action, and then all of a sudden one night, $300,000 of action comes in on that same prop, and that player checks into the game and then leaves with a hamstring injury, that's going to raise so many flags and so many alarm bells that the league is going to know what's happening. So believe it or not, I know there's a concern, Stephen A., that maybe some of the things aren't above board, but the NBA has done an excellent job. And doing something like this just to clean up some of the inbounds, out-of-bounds stuff, like we see in tennis, speeds up the game and then allows the officials to focus on the subjective stuff, which is where we all, I think, ultimately want their attention.
Absolutely. That's exactly where we want their attention. And look at Major League Baseball, for example, Big Perk, with the automated ball strike challenge system that they've got in place. Some people like it, some people don't. But the reality of the situation is that, you know what, I think it's been successful. Like if I remember, Joe, it's like at a 54% rate. Obviously, it can improve, but still in all, they don't have a problem with that number right now. And the advent of technology invading the sport, you're basically showing people that you're not sitting there and lollygagging around and you're so addicted to tradition that you're not willing to move forward with the changing times that we live in. We're in the technological age. It's just that simple. And when you consider AI, they're talking about AI replacing millions upon millions of jobs in the next decade. If you are a league, it's not only good for you to adapt and to evolve, it's damn near necessary because it's not going away. When you see that as a reality, you know, what better way to introduce the world to the changing times in an emphatic fashion by doing it through sports? What better way is there to do that? Because you're fixated on it, you're a fan of it, you gravitate towards it because you're a fan, and therefore you edify and elevate your level of knowledge about it, and then ultimately you can